Welcome to a new Gun.io video. My name is Cal Evans, and today I'm talking to software developers. Today we're going to go over the steps necessary to prepare for a client interview. So, you've worked hard to master your craft. You've built out a body of work to show that you have the right stuff. Now, the only thing standing between you and the perfect gig is 45 minutes on a video conferencing system. Are you up to the task? Let's take a look at the things you need to nail to make that dream gig yours. Let's start with the easy part. Since we're all computer nerds, this part should just come naturally. Sadly, this is where a lot of interviews go off the rails. Make sure you know ahead of time what teleconferencing platform will be used. Install it ahead of time and practice with it. Call a friend, call your mom, or whomever you can convince to talk with you for 5 minutes. Make sure it works with your computer, camera, microphone, and network. Spend this practice time twiddling the knobs and flipping the switches. Make sure that the other person can hear you and see you clearly. This is important. This practice session is the only time that it's acceptable to utter those infamous words, "Can you hear me okay?" Once you're on the call, assume the other person will tell you if they're having problems hearing you or seeing you. Also, familiarize yourself with the software and how it works. In any given month, I use at least 3 different teleconferencing systems, and they all work differently. Don't assume you can figure it out. Nobody wants to spend the first 5 minutes waiting for you to get the correct mic and camera selected and then adjusted. Your laptop's built-in camera will work for this if you don't have any other options. External webcams aren't expensive these days, so if you can pick one up, I highly recommend it. This will give you a lot more control over the placement, which gives you control over the scene presented. You should make sure that the scene you show to the client is clean, neat, and uncluttered. If you want, you can resort to a virtual background if you like. However, I found that it looks better if you just find a spot with just a blank wall behind you. You can go fancier, but the important thing is neat. Once you have your scene set, make sure you check your lighting. A poorly lit video where the potential client can't see your smiling face will hurt your chances of landing that perfect gig. Make sure when you are practicing that you get the lighting correct and then write down what you did so you can reproduce it. Audio problems are the other shoelace that many people trip over. If possible, don't rely on your laptop's integrated microphone. You don't have to go expensive, but a headset will go a long way to making sure you have a good experience. It reduces the chances of echo happening, and the microphone will be close to you so that you come across clear and concise. This is important. Never use a headset in a teleconference that you haven't practiced with beforehand. You don't want surprises. So, if you buy a new headset, call your friend again and practice with it. Make sure you get the software set up properly so that you have the confidence that the client can hear you. Now you've got the easy part out of the way. Let's talk about actually preparing for the interview itself. Be ready to talk about the tech stack the client uses, your last job, your most successful project, a time when you failed, and how you handle conflict. These days, people don't ask a lot about the gaps in employment. Most of us have them, and they're usually filled with gig work. Occasionally, you may get a question if you have a large gap. If you do have a gap, have an answer prepared. If you don't have any questions about the company, the team, or the tech, then you look like a mercenary. It looks like you really don't care, you're just there for the paycheck. Show that you're interested by preparing 2 to 3 questions for the interviewer. What kind of workflow has the team adopted? What version of whatever language or tool is the team working with? How often does the team meet together? Remember now, this isn't stump the chump. You aren't trying to stump or embarrass the interviewer. You also aren't trying to show your superiority over the interviewer. You want to convey that you're interested in the job, the team, and the company. Look for questions that, when answered, you can respond to with, "Oh, cool." Okay, 10 minutes before the interview, close everything. Email, social media, chat programs, anything that could be a distraction. Then spend the next 5 minutes just thinking about having the gig and crushing it. Visualize it. If this is a job you really want, then make sure you smile. Smiling during the interview is very important. If it helps, and I usually find that it does, put on some of your favorite music. Clear your mind and be ready to be in the moment for the next 45 minutes. How you act, your body language, is important. It's doubly important since the interview is not taking place in person, so you have to work to convey a positive impression with the signals that we normally give off in person. This goes beyond just smile, although if you smile during the interview, you're already ahead of the game. Smile, lean towards the camera, pay attention. Now, regarding that last point, stare straight into the camera for the entire interview. Don't watch the screen unless the interviewee is sharing their screen. If everyone is just talking, don't stare at the screen, stare at the camera. The reason is that to the other person, you're looking directly at them. If you're watching the pictures, it looks like you're paying attention to something else. Let the interviewer know that there's nothing more important than what they are saying. If you've not read any of the books on body language, let me recommend The Like Switch by Jack Schafer. It teaches you how to get people to like you by how you act and what you say. I highly recommend it to anyone who is interviewing for a job or is a freelancer who regularly works with clients. There are few better feelings on earth than nailing the interview for a gig you really want. If you follow these tips, you'll increase your chances. Of course, getting the interview with that client is the first step. Yes, you can go out to your favorite job board and apply for every position that looks even remotely interesting. Or you can work with someone who understands how to match you up with the perfect job. Gun.io does just that. We've got the perfect client just waiting to meet you and give you the chance to nail the interview. Join us today, won't you?